I was coming home with this cute little puppy, right? And I got the specific dog I wanted, which I didn't even think was going to be an option. Oh my God, I'm not really even sure how I'm supposed to start this dog. Like, what I prepared a dog for was not our goal. It kind of just like fell on me at once, and I was like, uh-oh.
Hey y'all, it's Anna V, and you, my friend, are listening to the All American Wing Shooting Podcast. I am a hunter, conservationist, mom of 2 girls I have raised in the outdoors, and a proud owner of a truck full of dogs. My passion is guiding you to confidence, sharing in tradition, and celebrating the true meaning of success in the field. Here we go.
Hey y'all, and I am here with Chris Rudd, and we are going to talk all about dogs, especially my new puppy. Hey Chris.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be fun.
I know. I feel like I haven't talked to you very much since I picked up my dog, and I expected to blow up your phone when I left your house.
Why didn't you?
I mean, life was really crazy for us, and we traveled some. I brought her home, and then within a week we were in Louisiana, and I took her to honey break, and she did awesome. So she got on, we got her what did we get her? We got her a pigeon. No, what did we have? We had teal and we had doves that week. And so that was just super fun because she was so little. And now she's not so little.
Yeah. How much does she weigh? Do you know? Do you have a guess?
I don't know, but I'm going to guess a good 25, 30 pounds.
Yeah, that's about right.
Because you told me that she was like a lightweight, like she was the one that was having trouble putting weight on. So we paid a lot of attention to that. She's filled out. She's just so cute.
Yeah.
Buckaroo.
That's what we call her. She was my daughter's favorite, and she really wanted to keep her. I was like, no, we're not keeping another one. But she will ever be Misty at our house. That's what Boujee's name really is.
Okay, so I added another lab to the string, which was supposed to be Tater's dog, but Tater's going to have to share because I actually loved her, and I didn't think that I would love another dog beside my Littles, right? And Littles is home. She goes with me everywhere. She's laying right here now. And we committed to this litter. Clark Kennington knew that I was like, I want to find a kennel. I want to run dogs with. I want to be part of a team. Like, I just loved that atmosphere of getting involved in HRC. So we had talked about a few of his friends that kind of had that culture. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really ready for a puppy right now, but he knows what kind of dog I wanted. And especially coming out of the competition world, I love a high drive dog, but I also want a baby. So it's like, I got to have this perfect dog. And then I was like, it's got to be cute. Like, I don't want an ugly dog,
Yeah.
So we were having all these conversations. Matthew and I were in Texas, sitting at a restaurant, waiting on our friends to show up. And he texted me and he was like, hey, I found the perfect dog for you. It's a stroker puppy and it's going to be great. And I was like, I looked at Matthew. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for a puppy, but Clark found us a dog. And I'm thinking in my mind, it was never implied, but it never was confirmed that he just had a litter, there'd been a committed litter. When she came in heat, I would just put my name on the list, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what I'm thinking. So we're sitting there. We made this rash decision. Okay, we're in. And then we go to dinner with our friends. We haven't seen him forever. And so I was like, did we just commit to a puppy? I was like, what just happened here, And so 2 days later, Clark texted me and he was like, hey, here's Chris's number. You need to pay your deposit and schedule your pickup date. And I said, what?
Yeah. Clark sometimes omits information, but I think he does it strategically so that good things will happen.
I will definitely agree with that because I was not ready for a dog. And now I can't imagine life without her. So, and you hear that over and over, right? Like, who really gets one that is in the boat that we're in? That's like, we are hardcore dog people. We want to run dogs. We would love to compete. You never regret adding a dog to the list.
No, not normally. Normally you don't. There's been a few that I was
Especially one
like,
like this.
yeah. Well, I mean, that litter has really done well. Like that breeding. I know this is the third one, the one that you have, but um, the first one produced two that were Derby, have Derby placement. One got either to the eighth or ninth in the Derby National, which is like pretty amazing. Lewis ran Indy. He did amazing and has done really well. Got his HRCH, I believe, and has passed a few master tests already. And those dogs aren't even two yet. And then Clark's dog Fang, who's done really well, got a Derby placement. Excuse me, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold here. And then Charlotte, who's from the first litter. That's a good from Doreen Reinhardt, who's a good friend of mine. Her dog passed the Grand at 22 months old, which is not many. This last one, yep. She passed. She was in our flight, and in a family tradition, as we call it, she had to learn how to do upland the day before. So that's what Winter had to do.
Did she beat Winters?
No.
No. Okay.
Winter passed her first Grand at 17 months old.
At 17 months.
Yeah. So, but it was a family tradition. We're out there in the dark with flashlights and our trucks all turned. I mean, we're in the middle of where we were in Tennessee, we were in Nashville at those big grounds there. I can't remember the name of those public grounds there, but we all got a bunch of chuckers. We got two crates of chuckers, pretty much for one dog, and we flushed, I don't know, probably 25, 30 chuckers for her to teach her how to, because at the Grand, the last series is a steady to wing and shot flush, which if you've never done that before, it's pretty challenging when a dog has never upland hunted or never done any of that before. And the night before, you're teaching the dog, to quarter, engage a bird, flush the bird, and then sit their butt down. And after the shot goes off, and then if the bird's killed, they have to go retrieve it. And it's the easiest part of the Grand, but also the fifth series. I think the pass rate is like 92 to 95% of the dogs pass it, because these dogs are under so much control. But like these dogs are the elite of retrievers. But they just went through 4 series of water and land duck retrieving, and then they got to flip a switch and go do upland. And we have a very thorough upland program we normally take our dogs through, and it takes a month so that they go through the whole program. It's similar to a lot of the spaniel trialers that do. Like we teach our dogs to sit to the flush based on a reaction to a flush, and we don't even have to blow a whistle. But when they're younger dogs like that, and we're cramming them through the program, it's pretty crazy. So both Charlotte and Winter made it to the 5th series of the Grand without any plans to get that far, and then we had to cram it in the night before. So.
Okay, so now that you're bringing this up, because I come from the competition on the upland side. So my game with the flusher was the fastest time, least amount of shell shot, most birds bagged.
Mm-hmm.
If a dog sat on a flush, count yourself out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's totally different. Yeah, so I know there's a lot of those, I don't know, is it the Bird Dog Wars and all those things?
Yeah, that was the organization I ran.
Yeah. So that's like a completely different type of upland training. Right. So that's about speed, quickness. Yep.
With a totally different training program. And I felt very confident starting any puppy, a pointer or a flusher. And then all of a sudden I get home and I'm like, I have to train this dog to run a straight line.
Yeah.
Retrieving. This is so different.
Yeah, the retriever game is a lot. Like, I haven't done Bird Dog Wars, but there's folks up here, and I'm in Northern Illinois, Wisconsin. There's a bunch of people.
That's where I was in Wisconsin.
Yeah, a bunch of people do it up there, and so I've watched the YouTube videos, and I've talked to some of those people who have had a lot of success, and it's so much more about natural ability. Mm-hmm. There is obviously with everything in dogs there is a level of training that goes into it, and it's pretty sophisticated, and you got to have a lot of experience in it. But when you take that raw ability and you have to take a dog like a competitive retriever, whether that's field trials, hunt tests, SRSs, you have to have both insane natural ability to find a bird at incredible distances across incredible amount of difficulty in water, but they also have to sit there, not make a noise, be a gentleman about it, or gentlewoman, I don't know what you say
Yes.
about, like they sit there,
A lady.
a lady, you have to sit like a pretty lady, sitting there waiting for those ducks to fall. And then they have to know, okay, now it's your name, go find them. But then when they don't find that bird, or they didn't see that mark, then it completely changes to 100% control, where me or myself as the handler has to override all of those dogs' natural instincts to quarter, to use its nose, to do all these things for me to say that bird is in that 2-foot little circle over there, and I'm going to keep you on a very tight straight line, give you minimal casts to proceed directly to that blind, and then put your face on it. Like that's a whole nother level. And I can teach almost any dog to run a blind, but the dogs that can run a blind and stay with you, that can do that, but then also have to know to make that switch of, all right, now I have been sent on my name, which is different than the word back, which is what we use. When we say back, it's a team sport here now. You're going to do what I say. We're going to do this together. Listen to me. To where when I send them for a bird that fell that they saw and I say their name, it's 100% on them. Go out there, find the bird. And those two things are so polar opposite that the training, you have to balance the confidence of a marking dog, the confidence of a bird finding dog, and then the dog that is a machine that does exactly what you want. And then you got to go run upland, where it's like, forget those two things that I said. Now I say hunt them up, and you turn into that same dog that you're looking for with the upland program. Or like, get out there, quarter, find that bird as fast as you can, flush that bird. But because of safety, because a lot of these dogs, these flushing retrieving breeds, we put a lot of money into them.
Yeah.
And most of these, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of these dogs that are up in the Midwest area, like I go and I guide game farm pheasant hunts. If you're going to go guide a game farm pheasant hunt with a dog that's got 5 grand passes, you don't want that dog chasing that bird.
No.
You want that bird to be flushed, for them to sit, for that bird to get out, for those guys that don't know what the heck they're doing, for watch that bird get a little bit out further and then shoot away from your dog. So that's the reason that the Grand does the steady to wing and shot, because it's a safety issue.
They do that on the pointer side, I mean, it's very common.
Yeah. But the flushing side, when I go hunt wild birds, as soon as I shoot the bird, to not degrade the training I need for the Grand, I say their name. Like, I don't wait for that bird to fall. It's like, as soon as that rooster is shot, say their name, let them go get it. Because the chances of them losing the bird is higher, because you got running roosters. And if you watch us really go hunt wild birds, like, if we don't have backers, we just run. Like, and when we go to Iowa and stuff, we get like 2 dogs out there and 4 guys, and we just run a field because we want to pin those birds and get them. And I don't do a ton of it, but it's so funny because we have all these Grand dogs, and all you hear is bang, name, bang, name. Like, we're not trying to get them really steady. We're trying to just get those out. But when we're doing game farm hunts, we want those birds to get well away from our dogs and be safe.
You have just saved, or maybe launched, a whole new passion for me. Because, of course, me talking to Clark, he has not translated all this, because he's not an upland guy. He's never... Actually, we need to get him on a pheasant hunt, because I want to say he said he'd never been on a pheasant hunt before. And I'm like, you've never even experienced your whole dog. Like, what? So, when I took littles on... We've only done 1 test. We got 2 passes in a weekend. That was the thing, is that nobody's really like broke it down like this for me. And I was like, man, the adrenaline from where it came from and this, it's not equating for me, right? And so I was like, maybe it will get better once I get more involved in the training and we get like in the nitty gritty and we move up, because we started at seasoned, and she's ran BDC. She's done all the wild bird hunts, whether it was grouse or pheasant or chukar or whatever. And I was like, I could just send her. Like, she can do this work at season without me, And so it was like, I just didn't feel that thrill. Now, you're always excited when you get ribbons. I mean, that's nice, like that's bragging rights, and it's fun to post with your dog, and it's like, yay, my dog's so great. But that inner achievement high that drove me with the BDC, I've been looking for that, because I don't want to run the BDC again. I want to invest in this because I just have so much appreciation for the tradition of the hunt test world, and it is a new challenge, and I was ready for that. So it was like, I just got to find where I clicked. So I think taking it to that next level.
Oh yeah. So started and seasoned, I like they're big accomplishments, but they're kind of just like the basics of retriever training.
This was kind of on the list too, because I don't want to just like rush through all the topics, but since we're here, I think it's so important too for people to understand. Number one, you've perfected this, I think, considering what I've been through. And I know I haven't done the whole program yet, but getting people started, like, I'm not knocking any of the lower entry levels. It's just I competed at the top somewhere else, and I expected to be like super high.
Yeah.
And my dog didn't need me, and I'm like, but I need to be needed. Starting a dog, and you can talk about this because I'm running HRC, you can talk about AKC, because I know that AKC also offers youth scholarships for their youth handlers. I just think there's so much about this world that people don't tap into. Maybe we don't market it very well, but it's like once you break in, it's endless support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe it's good for your listeners. I don't know how much they know about the hunt test game or the field trial game. So maybe I could give a little bit of background on what it is. And so, like, a field trial is kind of what you think. There's a competition where the judges set up, I won't say hunting scenarios, but it started as hunting scenarios, but it's evolved into the dog is performing and you're competing against other dogs and handlers to accomplish something that doesn't look like hunting, but it is about testing the dogs for hunting type situations at the highest level of their natural ability and trained ability for a breeding program. Like, that's what field trials is about going out and competing. The dogs are doing incredible things. So they'll do land and water series, like, and it's massive mark. So like, you ran seasoned.
Mm-hmm.
Furthest mark was probably 50, 60 yards. You ran a 40-yard blind. All right. A 40-yard blind is not, like, you have to demonstrate control. Like, if your dog doesn't go directly to it, you have to be able to stop them, have them look at you, and cast. But a field trial is a whole nother game. So at a field trial, the furthest mark could be 450 yards. And there'll be 3 people standing out in a field. This is just an example. The judges have the right to do whatever they want. But let's say there's 3 people standing in a field holding a bird each with white coats on. And one's at 450 yards with 2 ponds in front of it. There's another guy off, maybe 10 degrees off at 250 yards. And then there's a flyer station where there's a couple guys set up at the flyer station with a live bird that they throw and shoot that bird. So your dog sits there and they watch all 3 of those birds thrown at different distances. And as they go pick up that flyer, those 2 guys that were standing out in white, they hide into underneath a ghillie blanket or get in a layout, step behind a tree. So there's nothing for the dog to look out there and mark. But it has to remember where that dog or that bird is at 400, 450 yards after it's already picked up those 2 other birds by just you lining the dog up and saying their name. That's completely the marking part of field trials and in hunt test is about the dog's ability to mark a bird, remember the bird, and to go straight to that bird. And remember, I said there's a couple pieces of water in there. Well, the dog that goes straight and doesn't run around the water wins the field trial. So that's what a field, and then they'll also set up right after that, they'll set up where there's 2 blinds, and the blinds could be at 400 yards. And imagine directing a dog to a little ribbon, a 6-inch ribbon at 400 yards away, and teaching the dog to shoulder the wind, to hit all the pieces of water, to run past water after it just got in water. It takes an incredible amount of skill and training that you go into. Remember, I talked about the marking ability, which is the natural ability of the dog, and you've had to train a lot of marking things in there, but really it's about, can you find that bird?
Yeah.
And then to the control of that blind. So back in the day, all there was field trials. Well, people finally started to realize, well, there's a whole nother side of this. Like, these are all hunters that are doing all these field trials, and they're testing these dogs, but then they're coming back and then they're hunting their dogs throughout the wintertime. Like, so like most dog competitions happen from the months of like February, March, the end of hunting season, to when? The beginning of hunting season. And they realize, hey, we can set up hunt test, which is not a trial. There's not a winner or loser. It's a pass or fail system. And the judges can set up certain things. So it's 3 marks and a blind. Like if we just stay in HRC, that's kind of the standard. But now if you go to a finish test or the grand, now you have birds that are hidden. Like they come out of little bushes where the dogs can't see them, and they have to sit next to you on a bucket. Follow the swing of your gun to point to where these birds are going to come out, where they can't hear them. All they can do is see these birds coming out and making a nice, beautiful arc. They have to follow your gun and work with you to see these 3 birds. Then they have to go and remember where each one of those are, go out and pick them up, and then they have to run a 200-yard blind. So that's when you get to that level, that's when you're going to feel like you're working with your dog.
And I am so excited now that I have your program, because I felt so lost. I was coming home with this cute little puppy, right? And I got the specific dog I wanted, which I didn't even think was going to be an option. And I was just like on cloud 9. And then I get home and I'm like, when I get home from Louisiana at honey break, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not really even sure how I'm supposed to start this dog. Like what I prepared a dog for was not our goal. And it kind of just like fell on me at once. And I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. So I sat down and I just started binging the program. And I was like, this is perfect. You could never have had a dog in your entire life and be able to be successful with this program. Mind-blowing for me because, being a female, I get so many females that reach out and they're interested, and a lot of us were horse girls first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's very common.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horse folks who transition into the retriever games.
The dogs are so much easier to take care of, right? We don't need a farrier.
Yeah.
But we also understand the benefits of having a solid program to follow. So I've just been so impressed. My dog is doing awesome. Little Boujee she's rocking and rolling, and like she doesn't have an off switch until we give her one. Like she doesn't just chill. She is wanting to work. She will stare you down, look you right in the eye, like, what do I do next? And I was like, this is amazing, because like what you're saying, it's a whole different breeding. It's a whole different genetic than what I'm used to running. So she's challenging me, and it is so wonderful. It is, I get geeked up to go to the kennel now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the puppy program, because I came from a very similar spot. Like I was a duck hunter. I wanted to buy a dog because my grandfather was 88 years old, walking into a cow pond marsh thing, retrieving ducks up to his chest, in water and waders. And I'm like, if he just falls over, he's going to die. Like, I ain't going to be able to get to him. I don't have any waders. I didn't know what I was doing when I first started. I was like, I need a dog. So like, I was like, I don't know how I do this. And so I was watching YouTube videos, and I was watching, I was buying books and stuff.
How long ago was that?
About 7 years ago.
Gosh, only 7 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was lucky. Dan Ihrke, who is the instructor on the program that you're watching, he used to work with DT Systems. He doesn't work with them anymore, but they put on a puppy series on YouTube. It was like 10 to 14 videos, and it was a lot of the things that you're watching in the program are in there, but it was like a very high level introduction to it. It had some food bowl casting, it had some obedience, it had how to introduce your dog to birds, and those basic things like that. And I watched all those videos and I'm like, wow, this guy really is good. And I thought he was in Texas because that's where DT Systems was. So I didn't think much of it. Like, I'm never going to be able to connect with the guy. And then I don't remember what I did. I just searched his name once. And then it said Roberts, Illinois. And I was like, dude, the guy's in Illinois. I'm in Illinois. What,
Yeah.
like, where the heck is Roberts, Illinois? So I looked it up, and it's only an hour and 40 minutes away from me.
Can you believe that?
So then I called, and he runs a sportsman's club, a Green Acre Sportsman's Club. And so I called the clubhouse, and I'm like, hey, is that Dan guy there? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay, I can't afford to do a board and train situation. I can't afford the money to bit. But do you guys do sessions? And they said, yeah, but you have to work with one of his assistants. He only works with, the folks that are going to be doing hunt tests and things of that nature. I was like, okay, I don't have any interest in that. I just needed to know how to teach my dog to go get a duck.
Yeah.
And
Save
so
your
I went, save my grandfather from doing that. So I went down and I met with their trainer and I did my first, they have an evaluation. And my dog didn't completely suck, so that was good.
Yay.
And it wasn't winter; it was a dog prior to winter. And I just kept going down there for like three or four sessions. I would go down there every 3 or 4 weeks, and they would see what I'm doing and do it. And I make videos. I was in I'm still in marketing, but I worked for another agency. I managed an agency, and I just could tell like you went down there. It was just gorgeous. The property is amazing. Their clubhouse is nice. I didn't feel like I belonged there. They were doing driven shoots. They had, a gentleman that was doing they brought him over from England and, he was, hello, chap, and doing the whole thing. It just felt like the total, like, I don't belong here. I'm poor, kind of scenario. So, but I knew I could make I could crush some videos for this guy.
Yes.
And so I just I weaseled my way into a meeting. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but Dan was like, okay, I got 5 minutes for you. And I was like, okay. And I gave him my little.
So serious.
Yeah, he was so serious. Yes. Yeah, he's like, what is this guy's wasting my time? I found out a bunch of other internal politics of how I got there. The person that I used to get me the meeting wasn't going to be at the company any longer, and they didn't really trust him. So my leg into that, from their employee that I worked to get to there was, so I don't have he didn't have the best idea on this, but I was filming for the University of Illinois, which is right next to where they are. And I showed him this film we did. I was like, I can do something like this for you. And it was good. And he saw the drawing. He said, you could make that for me. And so his whole demeanor changed. And so I started doing a bunch of videos for the club and the dog training, and then Dan and I just became best friends. And I'll never forget so he's like, okay, I'll take over your sessions, your training, and I'll teach you how to do this, which was great. But I'll never forget, he has a lot of people that come down there and try to learn, right? And there's people who can work a dog, but they really can't train a dog. They don't know how to read a dog. They don't know how to do, they can't. They don't hear things well. They don't take feedback well. It's not that they aren't trying. They can't. They're not coachable. Maybe is the best word, right? There's some people that just aren't coachable. And he was teaching me how to force fetch. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget. I was super fast. I was like, pinch the ear, throw the thing in, da-da-da-da-da. And Dad goes, hey, just slow down. I want this type of speed and feel. And I totally did it. And he's like, wow, you're really coachable. And that's when he told me, he's like, that's when I knew the kid was going to make it. That's what he told me. So I went and I was, a student of Dan Ihrke. I went and I worked with Dan. I put 3 finished titles on my first 3 dogs with him. And he, I was going down there every other weekend as much as my wife, and I think I had kids at that point. Yeah, I would have young kids at that point. And it was amazing. I just learned how to train a dog to do retriever stuff. Well, I'm one of those guys that just dives into everything. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, I was going through all this. I was like, we got to film this stuff. It's so good. And it took us 6 or 7 years to finally make the time to actually go and film the whole course. So the course that's just the puppy course. We're continually filming, but there's 192 videos in the Puppy Foundations course that you have, and it is everything that you need to train a retriever basically up until force fetch, and it's such a strong. Dan, I shouldn't say it is. Dan is such a good teacher. Like I think he likes teaching people more than he actually likes teaching the dogs. That might not be entirely true, but but he is just like, man, dives in there, and he's just a giver of information. And I think he did a really good job going through it.
He did a remarkable job, and it's so relatable because when I started, I know I texted you immediately, and I was like, this is so powerful because he actually had Fang as a puppy, which is Clark's puppy. I mean, he's not a puppy anymore. He's almost 2. But he has Fang in a kitchen. Who doesn't have that much space in their kitchen to do these foundational things? And I love how he debunks so much mentality too. And he literally calls out things. Like he says, I know your dog hasn't had all of its shots, but we have to socialize your dog because in this window, your dog is going to soak up so much. And I felt so guilty taking Boujee to honey break because there's dogs there and there's birds there and there's like all this new stuff, and I've kept her out of water. But I was so nervous about that too because I have had an interaction with parvo, and sometimes you just, no matter if you vaccinate your dog or not, some things just happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to just be smart. And like I took Magic and my dog Liberty to the Grand with us. Because I it's not that I didn't have an option. I really didn't want my wife to have to be stuck with puppies for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I got a 6-hole dog trailer. I can haul them around.
Right.
But I was just really smart about it. So like when I would go to a different area to air them out, I would bring them up to people that I knew really well. I knew their dogs were all vaccinated, but I just wouldn't let them interact with other dogs. Except for my dogs, and especially Winter, who's their mom. Like okay, like that's gonna be
because those dogs have already been on the same ground at home.
Exactly.
And the other thing is like, I know that traveling with your dog is so tempting to stop at Love's with their pet fence because it's so simple, but do not put your dog there because that is just like a cesspool of germs.
Yep. I don't even put my big dogs there.
No, I don't put a dog there ever.
I've never been asked not to air my dog somewhere, but I just pull off at random fields, like anywhere that I think that there hasn't been another animal. That's where I'm really gonna try to go to.
But anyways, he just touched on so many like special nuggets through that foundation that I've just never even heard before. And I've been around a lot of dog trainers and been mentored by what I felt like was the best of the best in my world. And still, like, you never can learn it all. It was just, I don't know. It made it so exciting for me, even though I had already gone through this process numerous times for other things. And so I was like, wow, this is like starting over for anybody, because I tried to forget everything that I knew, because I did not want to take a little bit of what I used to do and a little bit of this, because that creates holes in your system. I totally committed to Retriever Foundations and just trust the process. It's so proven with the dogs that you run. Of course, with Clark's testimony, because he's done so much too with the same genetics, and Strucker was his dog. And I was like, man, if I could find myself, Lord willing, in their circle, I will have literally done it all. I was like, I think that I can do this. And so, and of course you guys are so supportive. So anytime I run into a snag, it's a phone call, and so I told Tater, I was like, we'll just pack up. We're going to go train with Clark. We're going to make this happen. But now that I know that Dan is at that super cool club near Illinois University, we stayed there. We stayed on campus when we came to see you.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that place is so cool and historic.
Yeah, he's about
school before,
35 to 40 minutes north of there. But yeah, But what I love about Dan is a lot of trainers, folks that train a lot of dogs, like have a big kennel. Like he has 85 dogs to 90 dogs in his kennel. He's got, other full-time trainers that are training all the time. But he makes an emphasis on not just, hey, thanks for paying me to train your dog. Here's your dog. Here's 5 things you can do with your dog.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is the dog comes down, stays with them for a month. They get started in the training process. This is a brand new dog, 6-month-old puppy.
Okay.
They train the dog for a month. Then every month, every month or every 2 weeks, the owners come down for the next 4 to 5 months. And they do an hour session as the dog is learning. Here's the things your dog is learning, and now you do it. So they're teaching human beings how to handle their dogs throughout the entire basics program. And it starts to, when you get into there's phases to retriever training. There's what normally people call basics, which is teaching the dog how to fetch, how to come back with a bird, how to swim, all those things. And then there's what we call transition, where you take those basics, like really basics, like obedience basics, and you start saying, all right, now we're going to teach you how to handle, which handling ultimately leads to running blinds. That's the transition period. And then you have a quote unquote finished retriever, which all finished means is they know how to handle and land in water. They know how to mark and land in water. And you can start to train them for the real stuff. But my point, that's just retriever language that people, I think, is great to hear about, learn about. And we can dive into those sections more. But my point was, Dan has trained so many owners who don't do this a lot by doing all those. So like all those little things that you hear him talking about in his course are things that he said 1,000 times to somebody, like, hey, you're going to have a hard time with moving the leash like this. Like I'm teaching my daughter how to, and she's 11 right now. She's ran some started tests. And when we go hunting, she runs the dogs. Like she knows how to, do the very basics of healing and sending a dog, and she can give some level of hand signals. But with this new dog, Liberty, that we have, who's not one of Winter's puppies, it's hopefully the last dog I ever have to buy. But it's out of a Crown Champion female, and I think it's 2 weeks younger than your dog. But it's my daughter's dog, and she actually looks like your dog. She's lighter. It's great.
Well, I'm glad that she got one since I took her dog.
Yeah, she did take her dog. She was like, I can't believe it. We're taking and we've had lots of litters. I don't know what it was about your dog, but she loved her. She got all the little special socialization around the yard. Like whenever Emma had spare time, she'd just go grab Misty and take Misty walking around. But anyway.
Well, it's really funny because she's actually my 11-year-old's dog. Mm-hmm. So they should be bird dog buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I'm teaching Emma all the things. And what I spend most of the time doing is teaching her, this is how you properly hold the leash during this phase of obedience. Because if you don't hold it this way, you're not going to be quick enough in your corrections. You're not going to be able to hold the treat. It's all these mechanics that it's not about what the dog's doing. It's about what the handler's doing. Mm-hmm. And I think Dan did a great job of, while we put together the puppy program, to be like, this is why we hold the leash this way. Mm-hmm. You see how I can get that quick reaction. I need the ability to get that quick reaction, because timing is everything in dog training, right? So I don't believe there's a better puppy program out there for, if you're going to just do obedience, if you're going to do flushing, if you're going to do retrievers. It doesn't matter the breed. We use labs because that's our core audience. I'm the lab guy, but we've trained tons of Goldens. We've trained tons of Chesapeakes. And Dan also has trained every pointing breed out there. He works at he's an owner of a sportsman's club. There's a lot of GSPs, a lot of Vizslas, a lot of every dog breed he's trained it that's in the sportsman's game. So, he knows, like, we're going to do a pointer series next. Like there's all these things that we're going to be producing just because he's such a good teacher.
Yes. So I guess the moral of the last 20 minutes is, if you want to get your own dog and you're just not ready to invest in sending your dog off, but I am a huge promoter of having a pro. I just happened to have a pro that told me I could do it. And so I trusted the process. but anybody can start their dog. And I tell you what, I don't think there's anything that you can do with your kid that's more fun than
Yeah, that's absolutely
raising
true.
and training a retriever. That's how we got into the retriever game to begin with, is because Tater got a short hair when she was 3, and she did run UFTA with her, which was collarless. The dog was 3, Tater was 5, and they ran nationals, but she had to have a shooter. And I just was like, it's going to be a really long time before she can have the total independence with the short hair that she could experience in the lab games. So that's how we kind of got switched up. And so at 7, she was running AKC, and she titled a dog twice in a summer. It was phenomenal. I was like, oh my gosh, where's this gift been? And so it took, Tater got Dolly when she was 3 years old. This past hunting season was the first year that she got to run her dog and shoot over her. And I still am like, thank you, Lord, that she didn't lose interest, because that took 8 years for her to get to the point that she had the confidence and that, I could trust the situation. And so, I did, you don't know what you don't know. And I kind of wish I just started with labs, but I was the short hair snob and then I was the happy hypocrite kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all right.
But
it's good. You found your way to a fun breed for sure.
Yes, and we can do everything. I mean, I definitely have had a ton of fun hunting in the grouse woods with a lab, and most people would be like, "What? That's such a sin."
Yeah, I've tried it. I've not been successful. I own property up in the UP, and I've shot one grouse, and I walked we have about 160 acres, and I walked all of it. Didn't see a stinking grouse. Was putting the dogs up, loaded my gun, and I looked over, and I heard this, and I look on the burn pile, on the aluminum, or the wood pile, on the aluminum covering it is a grouse sitting there after I walked this whole field. So I grabbed my gun, walked over, flushed it, shot it, and then had my dog retrieve it. But that's the only time I've flushed so many deer hunting up there.
Yeah.
But I just can't ever put it together. And I think it's just my woods is not the most, it isn't the best habitat for grouse.
Right.
Yeah. We go to the state grounds.
BDC, our dogs run so close, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a timed game. So we're at a brisk walk, but we can't have our dogs get out of range because that would cost us, pretty much the tournament.
Yeah, because you can't kill the birds,
because they hunt so close, it was perfect to put them in there. So yeah, I loved it, and I don't know, like now I'm gonna have to figure out, God, I've got to step up my game. My dog's gonna have to be like broke. I could get away with, hand signals and stuff, but to actually have my lab now sit in a flush. Oh my gosh. I wonder, does Littles have any hope learning that? She's 5.
Yeah. I mean,
and she's ran, like, I would have to put brakes on her and
it's a lot. It's a lot. Now that's only the Grand and the Upland series, or the Upland test. So, at 5 years old, if you're not there yet with the Grand, it's going to be a long training process to get to where you're running the Grand with that dog. But with like with Boujee, that's the one I would focus on. Yeah, so like it depends. Like if you ask Clark would say just don't upland hunt your dog, and
not an option. And he can say that because he's never been.
Well, he does. To him, and a lot of the pros that do well in the Grand and they hunt their dogs for sure, but they don't hunt their dogs to the same degree that like an amateur like me, like I hunt a lot. I'm not hunting as much this year.
I'm very honored that you came on this podcast, considering that your podcast is so popular, and then you take a break.
Yeah. So when hunting, I have 2 seasons of life. That's what I tell people. I train dogs from pretty much February to whenever the last national event is, which for me this year was middle of October. It was our opening weekend here in Illinois, which people are probably thinking, Illinois, there's not a lot of ducks there. Well, there isn't a lot of ducks, but there is a crap ton of honkers. We really get into the honkers, and I like shooting honkers.
Me too, and now I'm so glad that we have this bond but this puppy, because we need to come.
You need to come up and
Yes.
absolutely. And you need to get Clark to come out here. He keeps telling me he's going to come out here. But I can't exactly remember the point of what we're talking about. Oh, I have 2 seasons, right? And so as soon as the national event is over, like I recorded a podcast with Clark at the Grand, and he called me last week and he was telling me some stuff about a dog that I helped him with. And then he goes, "When the heck are you going to release my podcast?" It's like, dude, I know. I need to release it.
Actually said something to me about it. He's like,
"Oh, he did? What a turd."
Like 2 weeks before my episode gets done.
No.
Because I told him you were coming on my podcast, and he was like, "Well, what about mine?" And I said, "You're the one that blew me off. You haven't even been on mine." He won SRS was epic, right? And I'm like, "We got to talk about it." Well, now it's like old news.
Yeah.
There's been 2 other national events since then.
Yeah, I need to. That's basically what Clark and I talked about the whole time. It was right after he won.
All right, well, everybody listening, I'm just going to share Chris's podcast with Clark so he doesn't have to repeat it.
Yeah, I do need to release it and I want to do a few more episodes this year. Like last year, I took a hard break and just stopped because I hunt a lot. Like, last weekend I was up in the UP, trying to shoot a deer, which didn't happen, but that's all right. I mean, up there, it's family tradition to go up there. I like deer hunting, but I don't deer hunt like most people around in Illinois do. Like they go crazy. My uncle's awesome, and he shoots some 160 plus every year. He has a good time, but I'm all about shooting birds. So yes. I go up to Michigan and the UP. We got a few different places. We live right off the Lake Michigan. Our property is, so we get a bunch of random weird ducks and I hunt a bunch of like marshes. They're public, but you gotta like work to get in there. So, I used to drag a kayak 3/4 of a mile, then paddle a half a mile to hunt this spot because it was so good. It was great. For teal season, we go up there Labor Day weekend every year, and I pretty much always would get my birds. And then my friends and I go up there. We got 3 of us that go up there and duck hunt, and we do well. We do well, but I don't want to train. So, I mean, I'll train puppies because puppies I can do at my house and my yard and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Once hunting season starts, that's all I'm doing. We're doing this podcast, and all I did before this is I have a great job. I work remote. I parked myself in a good spot, and I just watched all the geese leave, and I figured out where they're going. And I got a feed of about 400 honkers with about 200 ducks in it tomorrow. So I'm pretty stoked. Took off a half day. We're gonna go get them. But we only got 4.
Oh, that's what you're gonna do tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah. I hunt 15 minutes from my house.
Yeah, I was about to say because you're at your house, which you guys bought a cool historic home.
Yeah,
that you guys are going to renovate. It's so nice.
Yeah, it built in 1890, and the coolest part is I went up to our property in the UP, and my uncle, who he just passed away in June, but we were all hunting out of his place, and I found a case. He has a case tractor that was his dad's. It was built in. I mean, it's like a 1950s SC. But I talked to my aunt. I was like, "Hey, if you ever get rid of that tractor, I want it. I'll refurbish it and do it." And so she gave it to me. So I just got a nice, cool historic tractor.
It's so cool.
Yeah, they did an overhaul on it. So I'm gonna be that guy that's just driving this tractor around for the heck of it. It's got a 3-point on it.
Go down to the biscuit place. That big old biscuit place.
I can go down to that restaurant you went to.
Town, and I said, "Hold up. We're in Illinois. That was a biscuit place." It's like, we have to turn around and go there.
Yeah, I think it's Southern Belle, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That food's good.
I said, "Who's the Southern Belle in here?" And they said, "Hold on. Where are you from? You don't sound like us." And I said, "Exactly. And I want to know who's on this side." It was so funny.
Yeah. No, we are about as Yankey as they get up here. I'll just say that. We want to be, there's part of us that want to be Southern, but man. Yeah. So, I'm excited to, I've probably went on 15 to 16 hunts already this year, and I've taken my time, but we pretty much, we could shoot 3 geese here, and like that's our limit, and my yearly average is like 2.8, so we pretty much get them every time.
Well, we absolutely love goose tacos, and people think we're crazy because I'm like,
yeah, you are crazy. I pretty much grind everything into sausage.
So good.
Yeah. But we had a good hunt last week. It's actually where we're going back today because there's just so many ducks. But we get the best ducks down here though. we get loaded with mallards and we got really cold and we got a good push of mallards and we killed our 4 mallards and I think we shot 35 birds. We shot our 20 ducks and our 15 geese in one morning, about an hour. It was nice. It was good. So we're hoping that happens tomorrow.
Who's that sneaking in?
Oh, that's Winter. She was sleeping behind me.
So that's my puppy's mama.
That's your puppy's mama. You'll see her butt here. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw her tell a minute ago. I thought that was her. Yeah. Well, I think that is so exciting. And my buddy, he's also been on the podcast. Pat Gregory is the legendary decoy maker in your area. And I'm like, well, I need to plan better next year and get us all together. It would be so
fun. That'd be fun.
Because I thought I was a dog snob, right? And then I upped my game with my winter stroker puppy. And then I get Pat on a podcast and he starts talking about, why would you ever send your dog through plastic decoys? And like totally upped it. And I'm like, I never thought I would get trumped with my bouginess in the dog. It was so funny.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to hear that I hunt over silhouettes, huh?
Yeah, he will totally trash talk you. But
I don't hunt water. If I hunted water a lot, I'd get me some wooden decoys.
Well, I want to go there and just have like a shop day with him. Like I want to get in the shop with him one day. So maybe you can come and do some video and magic with Mr. Pat. That would be really cool. Man, I had no idea what all we would talk about. It's been amazing, but I think we're going to have to do it again because you're such a wealth of knowledge for the industry. And we got to share about your podcast because you do so much training knowledge where I am all about lifestyle. I am like, everybody needs to get a lab. Everybody needs to join the fun and really trying to build up the numbers for women because Leah Spivey is kicking tail at SRS.
Oh, yeah.
She's an amateur.
She's great.
She's awesome. And then my dear friend actually from home is running HRC and she has 4 dogs. She's a mom. Her kids left her. She's like, I'm going to fall in love with these dogs. And she's traveling around doing this thing and they're not pros. They're not necessarily responsible for training their own dog. But they're having such a good time enjoying the sport. And it is just like a big family there. And I just think like so many women like don't know where to get plugged in that second part of their life, and the outdoors, like maybe you don't want to hunt, but everybody loves their dog. It's like, man, this is just amazing circle. And I just fell in love with it. And it's a new, I know a lot of the guys that run in the hunt test world, but to actually get to join them in the field, it's really just an honor. And I've told everybody that I'm like, I cannot believe they thought I was qualified to own this puppy. Like, I just feel so like I owe it to the investment that you guys have added to the industry to make sure that I maximize the potential of this dog.
Yeah, you're gonna do it. I can tell you got the drive.
It's so exciting. Yeah,
you're gonna have fun.
So when we come back on, we can talk about literally like how to get your kids started. And I just think that's so important. I think people need to know like kids are probably quicker at mastering these skills than we are.
Oh yeah, for sure. They don't have all the baggage.
Yeah, they don't second guess it. And then I do want to hear about the history of the dogs and kind of like, what do we do with it? So we have this rich history with our dogs and like, where do we take this? How do we set goals for the future? How do you get this and say, okay, I want to make the most of my time. If I'm going to invest the time and the money to run the dogs, like I want to make it count for, our personal goals. And so.
What are your goals? What are your goals?
Well, I would like, I'm probably not going to fill my kennel again. I could have 40 dogs here. We have 100 acres and all these ponds and all this stuff. So it's actually perfect retriever ground. I don't plan on living here, but maybe for a couple more years. So where I'm going, I'm not really sure if I'm going to have that same opportunity.
I thought you were talking about one dog. You're talking about like everything.
Well, that was my life,
Yeah,
and I was traveling around with a trailer and everything. And so I sold my trailer. The sweetest story, the guy that bought my trailer was actually a bird planner when I first started running competitively. And so he's now graduated up to starting his kennel, and it was so cool. So I just packed up all my training gear, and I was like, I just want to wish you good luck, because you think back at how much people helped you. You know, like you just spent this whole hour talking about how much Dan poured into you, and that's what happens. You bond with people, and they just go above and beyond to help you be successful. So Lauren bought all that stuff, so I'm starting over. And I do have my 2 dogs, and I like that. I like not having 10 to 12 at one time.
2 to 4 is a good number. You get beyond that, it starts to get a little. 2 to 4 dogs is a good number to train. After that, it gets a little like, oh my goodness, this is work again. This is no longer.
It's full time.
Just me doing my stuff.
Job, right.
You know, just having fun.
So I think that, you know, I'll get my feet wet with Boujee. And I mean, she's definitely not our last dog, because we don't travel that far to run one dog. That's the problem. And there's 2 of us. There's 2 dogs. So right now but we still have 2 short hairs too.
Yeah.
So
very good.
My goal is I want to put title on everything that I run. Like, I want to be able to do it myself. I want to understand the game. I want to understand how to read my dog on a higher level, because I geek out about it. Not because it's necessary. I just find it to be an addictive. It's not even a hobby. It's a total lifestyle for us. So we just live life around the dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love the lifestyle. You know, I mean, Tater's going back to homeschool, and we're like, where's the next party? Yeah. So right now, it's like my first step in this process is to master the videos. With Retriever Foundation. So do that, and then I look forward to getting to the force fetch videos and like relearning stuff. It's been a few years since I was really.
Well, we're gonna have to finish them before you get there. Dan and I had a conversation. We filmed it all. We filmed all force fetch, but we were trying to get all like what we call level 1 done. So what you have right now is all puppy stuff, which is up to about the 6-month age.
Yep.
Once all their puppy teeth come, or their adult teeth come in, that's when you really start to force fetch it. We're going to try to get that done soon, so that the folks who started the puppy series can naturally lead into
y'all
the
have
retrieval
like 2
level
months.
1. Yeah, I know. Well, that's really up to our it's like one of those great little business deals. So one of the good friends that used to work for me at another agency, and he hunts with me all the time. He works at a data center at night, and he doesn't have to do anything but like work an hour and then be on call if something breaks. So he literally just sits, and he's our third mystery partner that nobody knows anything about. But he just edits the Retriever Foundation videos at night, and then he gets his commission check as things get sold. So it's great. So. He needs to get into gear a little bit, but I'll tell him that
there are
that
so
you're
many
looking for
programs out there, but I really just think the simplicity of the way that Dan communicates on camera is the secret sauce of the Retriever Foundation.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that you said something earlier that I wanted to not clarify, because you said what you said was absolutely right. I mean, just add to it. You said something along the lines of like, when you mix and match program, there's holes. Well, what also happens, because I went through this, like I mix and matched all these programs, and there's holes in the programs, but there's also confusion for the dog. So the dog is missing those little tiny bit of learning steps, like as we call the rungs on the learning ladder. If you miss some of those steps and that gap is too big for that dog to take that mental or emotional or it's mental, that mental step to that next rung, and it's too far, it's impossible to get them to that next step. Like, so you have to have those rungs of those ladder in a distance for the dog that is accomplishable, that they learn, that they feel like they have success. And that's what I feel like we're really trying to do, is try to create a start-to-end retriever program, whether you're looking for a dog just to go hunting with, or for a dog that you want to run hunt tests with or field trials, that the basics are so strong. Because you could, like, Clark doesn't do a lot of young dogs anymore. They have Lewis who does some of that for them. But if you go through our program, like Clark, I've trained Fang, I've trained a few other dogs that I've sold to their clients that end up with Clark or Lyle or Lewis. The the program is so foundationally, it's so detailed.
Sound. Yeah.
It's so sound that when they get these dogs, like that's what Clark, like that's why Clark called me and was giving me a hard time about not releasing the podcast, because I had trained a dog and sold it to one of their clients, and they're like, this dog like just knows, and it's from the second breeding. They're like, this dog is going to be great. Like she loves to learn. She knows, like it's just all that stuff's there. The foundation is there.
Right.
And I think that we're going to try to create that program that is completely start to finish, the American method, which is 90% of what trainers use out there. And I think it's really going to help people. Like that's our goal, is like, I could care less about anything but removing confusion for a dog, because I go to those weekend tests. I go to those training days where there's a bunch of people who don't have that information. They're confused, their dogs are confused, and everybody leaves going home disappointed because of confusion.
Yes.
And we want to remove that. We want it to be like, here's what you can do. We've made it as affordable as we think we can, so that people can just, for $250, they get the puppy program. That if you do that, that's like a good chunk. That's 60% of the stuff that your pro trainer or you're going to do in level 1, where you're teaching them those next steps, those formal things. They're going to have 60 to 70% of that stuff there. And the reason that a lot of times those pros don't do that is because it's just not efficient. To do a puppy program is not efficient for a pro, because they really want those teeth to be out so they can force fetch at the same time. And so we can, if you do all those other things, force fetch is just such an easy step. So if you're interested in the program, you're listening, it's retrieverfoundations.com. And if you use the code HOBO, HOBO, which is my podcast discount code, which since I run the website, it's okay. Use HOBO, and you can get, I can't remember if it's 10 or 15% off. But use HOBO, and you can get a discount on the Foundations course if you're interested. And then I also have a course that's specifically for hunt tests, leading into the Grand. It's called Amateurs Amateur's Guide to Hunt Test Success. And it's just, as an amateur, I've had to like train with a bunch of pros, and I've trained with amateurs. There's things that the pros just don't even think to tell you,
right?
Because they have a bird tech who's throwing birds for them all the time. They have multiple dogs in the trailer, so the excitement level's at another level for those dogs. Mm-hmm. We as amateurs have to create a lot of these fake scenarios, and so I go through a lot of that. It's not it's not a complete training program, but it's like a capstone. If you're interested in training as an amateur, it's a great program. So that's the Amateur's Guide to Hunt Test Success, and you can use that same discount code to get a discount on the program. And if you like retriever training, specifically the hunt test game and field trial game, you can listen to my podcast. It's the Hunt Test Hobo podcast, and I just love it. It's so much fun to talk about retriever training. I like talking with people. It's great, but like with all things, you need seasons, and so I've done 2 seasons on there. There's like 70 episodes or something like that. We are in a break right now, but if you haven't heard of it, you can go back and start from the beginning. You'll hear a lot of Clark, who's a good friend of mine and yours, that you'll hear a lot, because for whatever reason, don't tell Clark this. He can't listen to this episode.
Okay,
whatever.
He won't.
Yeah, he won't. But whenever, well, every once in a while, he said, "Hey, I listened to that podcast you did it with XYZ." I was like, "I did that 4 months ago." I don't remember a word that we talked about. He's like, that was really good. I like this point that you made. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, thanks, Clark. But anyway, whenever Clark's on it, there's a little spike in analytics. Maybe it's because he's like really good and famous or something. I don't know. But anyway.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, I told him too, this was the other thing that I said. I was like, I just really want to be connected with people in the dog world that I want to share life with, because that's what we do, and it's so cool because oh my gosh.
Ken?
Yeah, so Ken got his puppy, and I had just gone on his podcast last month, and I was so worried that he was going to get the puppy I wanted, and I kept texting you. I'm like, don't let my dog. And he left like right before I got there, and so it was so funny. But I was like, these are such cool, dynamic people that all got dogs from this litter, and I have no idea how I've not crossed paths with them. And so that's the other thing about when you get your dog, if you really maximize the doors that a puppy opens for you, it's not just what internally happens in your home with loving a dog or discovering that you can achieve hard things or that you can connect with your kids on a different level in the outdoors. Things like that is literally like you're building friendships for life. And I know that sounds so corny, but these are the people that I spend my time talking on the phone. It's all dog people. And it's just so cool to go on social media and see where everybody's travels and stuff like that. I didn't even realize that, and I don't know where I got this. This is a Ryan Kirby cup. He's like, I'm obsessed with his Instagram. He's my favorite artist. He was the CB Artist of the Year last year. And it's just like the dog world really does just, I think, bring out the best in people. So I'm loving it. I'm loving this new chapter. You live in seasons. I've been living in chapters, but you're right. Like, this is going to be my hunt test season, and I hope it lasts forever.
Good. It will. I don't know of too many people that leave. Like, once they kind of get really hooked, like, some people dabble, but the people who get really hooked, they just never leave. They just,
you're right.
They train until they're dead.
There's this group of grandpas at my test that I hung out with because we were watching the finished fields, but we weren't running finished. We would bum over to the season or take our turn and bum back. And those guys were so cool. I think this is what their group does. They get a house, they cook dinner together, they've all got their dogs sleeping in their beds. Like, I was like,
y'all
are so awesome. Please adopt me.
Yeah, when you get to the Grand and you come pre-Grand training, you'll get the whole experience. Like, we have a great training group. This is the first year I was with Clark's group, but I've trained with other groups, and I'm the cook. I cook for everybody because I have a remote job, so I don't take off full time. I work out of my truck. That's why they call me the Hobo, because I have a bed, a desk, all the lights, and I can podcast from in there. Like, I can live out of the back of my little half ton. And so I've slept. I don't even get like hotels or anything. I just go to places and sleep. And then Clark is gracious enough to let me like go and take a shower every like 2 days or something. So so I like, either if I can't find a good campsite, like I'll just sleep. Like this last Grand, I just slept in my truck and plugged in next to his trailer. So I slept out with the dogs,
God.
But I cook, and it's one of the things I'm very proud of, because when you're the amateur with all these pros, I mean, you go to a hunt test, they're just running dog after dog after dog. Right. And the things you start to realize is you're bored because you got the one dog and you got nothing to do. And two, they're hungry because they don't have time to sit and eat. So that's when I started to I became like the YouTube chef. Like, so I watched millions of So I've been for 4 years, I've been coming up with all these like great recipes that I can do off grid. So I got a smoker that we plug into the generators that the dogs have, like, for them.
Yeah.
This next year, we're going to put a TV up because I got Elon's internet to work off of. So on Saturdays, we watch college football.
Yep.
And I got a griddle that pulls out with a spice drawer.
Essentially like tailgating for SEC.
Oh, it's totally. That's all it is. We're totally tailgating.
The hunt test field.
Yeah,
and it's so fun.
Yeah. So everybody that runs the retriever, like the Grand and stuff, they come like looking for me to find out if like what I'm cooking that day. But yeah, it's fun. I love it. Like, it's one of my favorite parts about the dog world is the cooking aspect of it. I figured out how to do like cinnamon rolls on a smoker because you got nothing else. A smoker, like, if you don't cook it very long, it's just an oven. It works just like an oven, a little pellet smoker, a little pit boss. So I've done like macaroni and cheese out there. Like baked macaroni, like you can just figure crap out. It's fun. I really enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sold. I'm gonna get up in the morning. I have 2 appointments in the morning. That I'm coming home and I'm getting Boujee out of the kennel.
Yeah, start
back to
working.
Work.
Yeah, awesome.
15-20 minutes a day goes a long way.
Oh yeah, I do 3 sessions for 5 minutes a day. That's what I try to do with the puppies.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be blowing up your phone now for sure. Now that I got the green light.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that we're rocking and rolling because. I think that would be the biggest regret of this moment of life right now is to waste this dog. I may not get another one because let's just talk about it one last time in closing. Stroker was the last pick. Toombs was the last pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Boujee was the last pick.
And Winter was basically the last pick.
And okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I have a genius on my hands, and I have to work her.
Yeah, she's intelligent. She's intelligent.
All right, so I'm going to start doing videos with my Retriever Foundation stuff. I've started. I've done 2 videos, and I don't know who to tag on that. I don't even know if I tagged anybody, but I do believe in it, and I believed in it before we had this podcast, just because pulling from my past experience and going into this, it was so easy to just wipe that slate clean and say, I'm just going to trust the program, because this program builds champions, and it's done it over and over and over again. And I'm so pumped to get added to the list.
Yep. Awesome.
Yep. All right. Chris Rudd, thank you so much, Mr. What are you? The Hobo?
The Hobo. The Hunt Test Hobo.
I love it. All right. And as soon as spring starts, I'll be crashing your grill.
All right, let's do it.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
The dawn's finally breaking as I leave this sleepy town. The sun is slowly rising and the fog is on the ground.